Wow! That was pretty close. That would have been a great way to get this started. You get a golf ball in the forehead, I get a busted camera. We would all be oh so happy. Hi boys and girls, my name is Nick Clearwater. I'm happy enough and lucky enough to be able to say that I help a handful of my friends play on the PGA Tour. They're doing really well. 3 of them are in the top 15 in greens and regulation right now, so they know what they're doing. They're playing really well, playing good golf. What you at home need to understand is that the description for what those tour players need to hear and why their golf ball curve might have something to do with 1 degree of the face being closed or open too much, or the path of the club could be just a little bit off, and that ball might curve from this much like they were expecting to 10 yards. That's different than what you at home need to do. 99% of you need to keep this as simple as possible and start with just a good template, a groundwork, a foundation of how to play. And you can do something like that in as simple as learning golf in 10 words. Do these 10 words correctly and keep getting better at them, your scores are going to go straight down and you'll hit the ball more like those guys you see on TV. First thing, what I notice on the PGA Tour ranges is that the guys who are the best hitters tend to keep their weight just a touch forward at address, and they really don't move back much at all in the backswing. So your first 2 words to play better golf would be weight forward. Never move it back to the right. It's not a piece to make you play well, it's making hitting the ground harder. Second part that all the good players do throughout the history of golf, and I like to use the example of Mrs. Haverkamp, little old lady from Caddyshack. She seems like a really nice lady, very good movie, bad at golf. When Mrs. Haverkamp takes the club back, her left shoulder only moves level to the ground. It doesn't move downward at all. When I look at the swings of Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer throughout time, their left shoulder moves down 6, 8, 10 inches in every single swing. So there needs to be some degree of the left shoulder moving downward in the backstroke. The next part that will supply some power to this whole process and hit this ball far is to start to take the golf club and your hands inward during the backswing, hit the ball and swing them inward on the follow through. If I were to take this club and swing the sweet spot of the club or the club head right over the top of the camera, right on my target line, hit the ball and swing it straight towards my target, I couldn't hit my driver 100 yards. That would be a totally useless shot. So there needs to be some inwardness of this swing. Start with your hands going in. It's real easy to relate it to the kicker, the field goal kicker in the NFL. And it's football season right now. It's getting cold up here in the Midwest. I'm a die-hard Chicago Bears fan, even though they're not very good. They have a great kicker. He knows what he's doing, and you can learn a lot from that guy. He kicks the ball. He's got his weight in front of the ball and his foot in front of the ball. Why? Because he needs to get this thing up in the air. If he had his weight back trying to kick the ball and lifting it up, that'd be an impossible task. And those uprights are far away. They're high off the ground. He needs to kick it high and far to make the field goal. The second thing he does is that he swings his foot inside on an arc, kicks the ball, and continues that arc on the follow-through. You can relate that to the older kickers in the 40s, 50s, and 60s who approached the ball in a straight line, kicked it, and their foot went right at the target. They kicked the ball maybe 30 yards. Now you've got the soccer players with the crazy last names coming into the NFL. They're kicking the ball 60 yards at the end of the half to beat my Bears. I've seen it many times. Now, the other piece that you can learn from the field goal kickers is that none of them slice the ball in. They're all kicking this big, high draw. I've never seen anyone approach it from the right side of the ball, trying to slice their foot across it and curve it in that way. Those are the shanks. Those are the worst kicks. They're not doing that on purpose. So you can learn a lot from that kicker, especially the inward hands in the backswing. The next part that separates a really good player from a really poor player would be the amount that their elbows bend, whether it be on the backswing or as they hit the ball into the follow-through. That's making it really hard to hit this ball and lay down some structure and how to keep your arms straight and keep the handle forward when you hit the ball. So there needs to be a tiny bit of bending of your right arm in the backswing and a tiny bit of elbow bend in the follow-through, but not much. It doesn't need to be excessive. Your arm should be fairly straight on both sides. The final piece, and I get asked this question all the time, why is this one important, is tuck hips. Now, it's in the follow-through, and I hear all the time, why is it in the follow-through? I've done all these things in the backswing, I've hit the ball, why does it matter? I understand, fair question. The follow-through, the last 2 words are tuck hips. So as you do that in the follow-through, that allows you to turn your body, turn your hips and turn your hips fast so that you can hit this ball far and impress your friends. The worst players, Mrs. Haverkamp, the little old ladies that I see all the time on the driving range, take the club back, move to the right, bend their elbows, hit the ball, and there's no tucking of their hips. If anything, they start bending forward more as they hit the ball. Those are the lowest hits. Those don't go high and far like you want to hit the ball. You need to strike this ball, your arms straight, your weight forward, and tuck your hips. I'm not saying that you need to bend your knees and tilt backwards. You need to keep your legs straight too. Keep your weight forward. That's the safest way to play golf and not hurt your back. Now, I understand that it's just 10 words. It doesn't seem like much. The follow through, especially, just explaining tuck hips is a small, tiny part of it. But that's what you need to do first, learning how to do this process in some sort of productive, structured manner. So you do this golf in 10 words. First 2 words, weight forward. Second 2, shoulder down. Third part is the inward part of your hands, hands in. Fourth set of 2 words is arms straight. Don't hit this ball with your elbows bending excessively. And the last part, tuck hips, allows you to turn and hit this ball far. These are the pieces that the tour players do really well. I see them on the driving range. I see them in the practice rounds all the time. They do these things, every single one of them, to varying degrees, but they're in there. You at home need to do them better too. You'll start playing not as good as the pros, but it'll give you a good structure. And when things start to go wrong, you don't stand up there, hit a golf ball, and just throw out some word that or phrase that you've heard before, that maybe I swung too fast. You're not swinging too fast, because I watch Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson all the time swing that club as hard as they can. Those are the best players in the world. You're not swinging faster than they are, and the problem is more in the structure of what you're doing. One of those 10 words, 2 of those 10 words, 4 of those 10 words could be better. Improve on those 10 words, then you can move on to some other stuff, but there's your structure for how to play golf, have fun, beat your friends, and that's what it's all about.